good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of knowledge from Keshe Foundation Space Institute, we try to go back into what we started just 1 second, please. And we try to follow the path of what we call about the time, how we progress, what we perceive, and how we interact with time. One of the main processes, one of the main, what we call objectives of teaching, is to bring all the principles of the, what we call knowledge of creation, what I call the rivers of knowledge, in the hand of the man. We showed how we changed matter to energy, energy to everything else. But do we need to always go for what we call energy and the matter? Or can we achieve the same by achieving time? The way we saw we created time, can we be stationary? Can we be in one place, changing the time? Some people like to call it back to the future, which kind of memories of the past time can be, but the pictures of the past time, unless is in the memory of the what we call the soul, cannot be seen. But what can we do with this? Do we create the time of the past time, or do we create the time of the future to see what is in the future, as we discussed before? And can humanity understand this? Because as we have the genetic, physical memory of our ancestors, blue eyes, white skin, dark chocolate skin, dark hair, whatever, long nails, short nails, one leg twisted, one leg straight, because it came down the path of the, what we call DNA generation. What about humanity going through the RNA of the soul? What does this mean? Which means, in fact, once we know, now that we understand that the soul of man is connected to the soul of universe, we use that channel to see where our ancestors from the dimension of the soul came. Now we can track our records by DNA changes, analysis, and find out which route our physical generation of life took from Africa or another position to where it is now, how it changed color. We see the evolution of the physicality. But now that we have the knowledge of understanding the process of creation of plasma, creation of magnetic fields, and understanding that we take 80% of our energy from the space, our physicality in the dimension of today, even in the womb of the mother, has connection to the part of the universe, because it has created the fields which extracted the energy from the universe to it. It might attract, it must attract, scientifically we understand how, connects to where the original fields which even created our sun, which even created our galaxy, come from. So we have access to the knowledge of the creation. The only way we can do it, backtrack it, is to go through the evolution of the time, feel the strength of time of the galaxy, of the universe. When we did some tests in 2008, 9, if you were knowledge seekers at that time, we sent you seeds, if you remember. And with the seeds, we sent you packs of, those days nobody knew what ganses was, special ganses. And on the March of the year, we asked you to cultivate it across the world. I can't remember, hundreds of sent to different knowledge seekers. They grow it in Africa, they grow it in South America, they grow it all over Europe, in Asia. Knowledge seekers send the address, we send the package. There was 3 packages. One to soak and do the seed, and then one to water the seed. And we see how it lasts. One of the knowledge seekers, German, methodically took picture of everything, and the gloves he used and the rest of it, if you remember. But we asked a scientist from Belgium, agricultural scientist, is very well known nowadays, he gives a lot of lectures, he's a very close Keshe Foundation knowledge seeker for decades. He was provided, he wanted to test the seed in a different way to see what it brings. And the process started in a plastic greenhouse, maybe 2 meter, 3 meter wide. Different time of the soaking of the seed and other processes which ganses which we provided to him for each one. And we monitored the structure of the changes of the ganses and the seed. And a specific seeds combination, they're all the same, all the ones which came around the world came from one batch, from the seed center, from one agricultural seed testing in Belgium. So everybody had exactly the same. They all had the, what they call the chemicals, yellow, orange stuff on them. And the seed was genetically modified, we knew, because that was the job. They were trying to see what it was, how things, best genes, best wheat or whatever was growing. In this test, in one of the tests, a specific combination, when we grew the wheat, because we could take it back generation by generation, I don't know if your knowledge seekers remember, we even showed the pictures of it. One of the seeds area, usually wheat has one stem and a flower and the seed on the, what we collect as a wheat to eat. These specific, as we went back in the generation of the seed, created something like 10, 15 stems. Literally, we went back to the time when the wheat was a grass, before man interfered with it. And we realized we can genetically modify, we can genetically reverse. We could take energies out of the system that brought it back to its generation. We tested again in China in 2019, 18, regarding genetic modification, that we can stop genetic modification, but evolution, we cannot stop. And now the question is, if we take the soul of the man, if we take the emotion of the man, if we take the intelligence of the man, if we take the what we call enlightenment of the man, we have all the dimensions, because the position and place we more or less know. Can we track man back? Can we track man back to where its energy comes from? The interesting thing, which I have always observed, and if you think of it, even if you listen to the intro of today, the food we eat is the seed, the energy we absorb. We only can absorb what is within us and what the combination of material in the galaxy which is created us can absorb from the space. We don't absorb everything. The wheat has a connection to the specific part of the universe which absorbs the energy to all of us. That's why we can become billions. If it was left for the planet Earth just to feed us, it could not be done. The 80% which comes from outside keeps the man going, and the planet Earth can support the other 20%. But if we track the structure of the soul of the man, which comes from our parents and our ancestors, through their soul, we should be able to trace back the time and the place and see the picture of the universe. Back to the future of the universe through the energy channel, not through the matter channel. And if we can develop such a technology, which we can, one day we'll show you the pictures of it, how we do it, and then we can see where our ancestors from the energy came, not from the matter. Why we yearn to go to space? Is that yearning hidden away for the man to find where he came from when he got educated, with the knowledge of the universe and the matter state? Or have we matured enough to reach to that point at this stage of man's development in the knowledge of the universe? In a way, our knowledge, our technology, our structure of the understanding of the plasma technology does not matter who does it, does not matter is it Keshe Foundation, is it CERN, is it another organization, not to look to create only energy out of the plasma, but understand the structure of the plasma, that by tapping, by connecting one field of the plasmas, doesn't matter in your reactors, in our reactors, in CERN's reactors, where we create the plasma of the right combination, can open the picture of the universe. We understand how and why. We know this line exists because we get enlightened through it. Because we receive knowledge of the creation and then we add to it when we have the tools of it, and it works. For sure, microchip is not invention from man's side. It's not innovation by man only. Our brain is the best microchip. But we haven't understood the energy use. And with that, not only we have the memory of us, our ancestors, in the dimension of the soul, we carry the memory, the fingerprint of the creation, even the creator within us. If you remember, I always start from the center, always there's a connection to the creator. Can we see the picture? Can we now understand the creation of the time on the physical side and the energy side within the structure of our system, within the structure of our soul, create the time travel in the dimension of the soul, and see how even the universe got its intelligence? This is not a dream. This is something, because very soon we open this door of knowledge. And then you understand the picture of our ancestors. We look today, if you look at the Darwinism explanation, start with a monkey, an ape, or whatever, it ends up to the man. We see the way the structure of our soul started from, which led to the physical dimension of the soul of the man, which the interaction of the environment led to the manifestation of the man. And then this brings a question: are there other creatures in the universe which went through the same path that are like us? They carry part of the DNA, of the energy of the plasma of us, but because of the environment they brought up, they look different. We say 95% or 99%, 97%. A mouse is like a man, a rat is like it has a DNA of the, what do you call it, of the man. Amino acid combination of the man. This animal is 99% like the man. But would we measure the strength field soul, the soul of the man, and say this creature in this part of the world come from the same source in the part of the evolution, even though if you go backward it goes to the creator. They're literally more or less all the creatures of this planet come out of the creation of amino acid, which is the father of the creation of life. If you change the position, it becomes protein of the dog. If you change the position, it becomes a plant. So if you change the position, it becomes a fruit, and the rest of it. What we are destined for, because we are becoming very good understanding the physical dimension of the man, DNA of the man, and everything else, it's time, now that we know there's a parallel energy, to understand our ancestors through the fields of the universe. The reason I brought this up, and we bring it up for you to understand about the time travel in the dimension of the field of the universe, is because of the pictures we've shown you before. You look at it as a picture, but I put a question to that picture. Where did this come from? If you go back on the pictures we showed you before, we are destined for something we don't know. Just 1 second, please. We were trying to show you something in the background and just trying to explain to you, because we are monitoring a lot of things in the background, as you know, but we have a small hiccup. I'm trying to get it sorted, but it seems that we cannot do it. What I want to do, I show you what I'm talking about, because this is a big question in teaching, in understanding. And if you follow blindly, don't turn up, ask a question. Not just because we show it, not just because it's with us.
Recording in progress.
Because we have to understand the reason. If you go back into the teaching of weeks and weeks ago, where I showed you this is you and the rest of it, I always showed you something very strange with these pictures. And what is interesting in these pictures, which everybody should have asked, but being me asking the stupid questions usually of what I see, it brings me back a very important position, a very important discussion for us to understand. And that is, if you remember in the pictures on the soul side, which we explained, we see a point on the soul side which suddenly is all the energies. And we see dots of energies, and we see a combination of the dots of energies. The question to ask is, where do these come from? Why suddenly in one place? Is that the source? Is that where we all come from? Because we tap into it, but we don't see anything beyond it. what I'm trying to explain, I'm looking for a picture. I know exactly what I'm looking for because you've seen it as knowledge seekers before, and you understand that this picture, this explains a lot of things to us as knowledge seekers, because this is where the time travel of our soul comes from. This is where we are all connected to, and strange enough is, doesn't matter what I do, doesn't matter what pictures we take, it comes to the same source. It comes to the same point. It comes, all we have this magic point where all the energies appear from. Nothing else. Why does it happen only and only in that point? Why do we see such a position of reference? Is this where all our souls gets the energy from? And interesting point is, we see the physicality. We understand the physicality. We see our connections. We see our existence. But what we do not know, and it's the time of the generation of life, is that why do we see this? Why do we all start from this point? Why? What is this point? That there is nothing beyond it. The process starts somewhere, and it seems through the development of the technology, we have found the source of creation, energy-wise. It is interesting for us as knowledge seekers to understand, what is this source? Why is this source in our lives, in our existence? And it is sitting with us, and why matters so much to us that we all start from a point. This is dimension of the soul of the man. It's the time travel within the structure of the man. This is what us as humans have access to. Now we see, but we cannot understand. What is the DNA of the man in the dimension of the space-time? And what is important to see in this dimension? Because mankind has to understand this point. Otherwise, we are on one track, losing end. And then we have to start hypocrisies of assumptions we have made up to now about the physical matter. We see this.
Recording in progress.
We see this in every single test we do with everyone. When we do even the collective testing. An interesting part is this. What is interesting? This is the soul. This is your dimension of physicality. This is your solar physicality. But what is interesting, which is gives us an insight into what is that we all within us carry the soul of the Creator. I explained to you, this is interesting. You see here, we don't see anymore, because this is your dimension of physicality. On the boundary of the sides, we have the same position. We see dimension. This is the soul. We see nothing above it. Zero. And it's the same in all the graphs we have. It's the same everywhere we do. Even if we connect, it comes back to. But we don't see anything. And this is the most interesting part. And for this reason, it can be said, we can literally say with certainty, this is the seed of the soul of our Creator we are connected to. This is the expansion, what we get from the universe. This is where we have to understand there is nothing above us. There is nothing above our soul. There is no limitation. We don't see not even a single dot. And this is the soul, and this is where that dot, we are connected to our Creator. Can't be anywhere else. And what we see, this is literally, the rest of it is the evolution of man in the cycle of its creation from the what we call the beginning to the end. Beginning being the Creator, expanding the expansion, and in it, with the interaction of the fields of the planetary system, create the manifestation. These are all your cells, physical dimension, that create you. We are connected to the Creator. We are part of it. It sits in the center of. But what is comes to our knowledge, what we have to find out is what is the history of man from here to here. Would we see in these dots the history of man 500 billion years ago, 1200 billion years ago, 200 billion years ago, till we get to the Creator? You saw the time travel, you came up with a condition of time travel of the man in the dimension of the evolution. This is the time travel of man to the dimension of soul of the energy. It's a physical, nothing drowned. Every one of us has a fingerprint of the soul. Every one of us has access to this knowledge. Every one of us has been born with a specific fingerprint of us. Not somebody else's. And we are all connected to this. If you look at the evolution of the man, if you look at the evolution of the science of what we call physical evolution, we see that in reality, we should be able, with the knowledge we have today, to discover where our ancestors, from the energy point of view, connect to us. We are feeding you in the back, as you know, usual. We are monitoring you. The systems are connected. Those of you who sit in the panelists, you can see we have connected. I'm monitoring how you change parameters. Last time, we fed you with energies 2 weeks ago, orange and honey. Today, we are taking a different path, but we see the same. In a way, what we can see, what we have in our hand, what is in position of us at this moment of time is that knowing, having hundreds and hundreds of pictures recordings. We have a connection with our Creator. Without a fail, we are connected because now we can see it. There is no doubt in the knowledge. Now we have to backtrack this to actually where and how the cells in my body connecting, interacting with the energy which comes from the universe and the planetary connects me to the soul of my Creator. The information which comes through the dimension of the fields of the universe to way we can find the time travel. Was this 400 billion years ago? Was this 300 billion years ago? And knowing that energy comes from anywhere, can we see how universe was shaped, created, and connected? This part we know. I'm sure in research in next few years, we tell you this is the soul of your cell in your foot, this is the soul in your leg, and then because we can estimate the soul of physicality, tell you which soul interacted with the field of the earth that created this and with this. This part is the easy part. This part is what man needs to understand, and the beauty of it is, an absolute beauty of it, when you see this, because of all the pictures we've seen, hundreds and hundreds of graphs, we monitored. We put you in teams of 20, we put you individually. What we see, there is nothing about this line. Not even a single dot. And this is your soul, which is absorbing energies. You see there's a line of feed in all your lines you've seen. We know this comes from our systems. We are feeding you through our system. Let me explain to you something, because we are sitting on the edge of science. We are sitting on the parameters that there is no doubt in the knowledge, in understanding, and in the whole structure. We have a system. Since we put the system in the laboratory, in testing facilities, I think you should have seen it in the past pictures, we have a line which feeds the man. And interesting enough, this line is coming since we added the specific system into the system. I'll show it to you that you can understand. If we can feed this, and what we saw in the next session, or in the next picture which we showed, then you see we are all connected to our Creator. And we can choose the path of the field, and we can choose the path of enlightenment, because it is not man-made, it is us which feeds the man separately, directly, and continuously. And this is the beauty of it. This is what brings the knowledge so close. You see this line? I'm sure you all can see. You see this line? This is the line of the feed, which we bring in. And you've seen it in most of the pictures. This is where we interact with the soul of the man. And this is how you come to your physicality, the soul of physicality. And in the systems where we test you with orange or whatever, or you go in the system, I don't look how it is. I look at how you are getting fed by us, this line. So we can interact with you this line. This comes in since we put a system somewhere in the what do you call it, in the lab. Before it didn't exist. It's a straight dot lines. When we have very strong souls which they depend on each other, we do not see this line. It's very well concentrated as souls. What this picture, and has been a point of research for me for past year or two, especially past year since we started seeing this line, if we can create this line and feed into the cycle of the energy of the soul of the man, so we can enlighten the man. So we can mature man much faster than man ever thought. Because now we control the process of enlightenment, the process of the field. And the more stronger this gets, the more man gets enlightened, and it will change the physicality of man. But we control it, we monitor it, and we understand mankind is on the verge of a huge breakthrough in this process. And if we can extend this to the level of what we call understanding of the process of creation and increasing this, because it's very interesting. If you look at this picture, it doesn't exist in it. It's very clear. You still see the line of creation that we created, what we can feed you with, and what it comes to be as part of. But again, even when we feed, we do not see at all any changes in the dimension of the connection above this line. It should have been extended somewhere. It doesn't. I've monitored hundreds of pictures. Why? If you go back months and months ago, we have a scattered energy on this side, but at the end of it, that is a limit to it. It doesn't expand to somewhere else. And when we go directly to expand the soul, it collects itself into one bundle. You don't see any whatsoever dots around here, which means we can connect to the source of the creation. We can go back, travel time in the process of time. And the interesting part for me is what you're going to see now. And this is very interesting because now we see the same figure, but we don't go beyond it. I'm monitoring your live pictures at this moment. This I show you exactly to see how you lot look as energy to us on the system. We're not talking yesterday or last week or whatever. We're talking about you as knowledge seekers in past 5 minutes. Have a look how you look and how the energy is. And these kind of pictures, these kind of data opens a massive line of research, understanding. And we are feeding you. So we are controlling this drastically, closely. And you have luck. This is the feed from the lab. You see exist. There we are. This is collective soul of you lot. Interaction with the field of the universe, of the Earth, and you lot collecting yourself down here. 2 lines feeding yourself. And if you notice again, there is nothing above this side. There is nothing here. There is nothing here. Your dimension of physicality, because your aura is scattered everywhere here. You're interacting with different fields, you're still here. But when it comes connecting to the soul of the man, to the universe, there's nothing there. So it means we are connected. What we see is the end, the process, the exact dimension which we all come from. So we should be able to track the time back. Because out of these fields do not come full strength to us. We get some of it. Thus, this line is the 80% which feeds our soul, which interaction of it with the physicality feed us to create our manifestation of physicality. The timeline we look for sits in the mystery of time here. This energy we are used to from 2 billion years ago. This energy we are used to 1 billion years ago. The energy here we are used to, we gathered to use it 10 billion years ago. So interaction of this with the physical fields of the earth gives us the physicality of man today. So in a way, this energy in conversion comes from there. There must be another similar creature as us in the dimension of the universe, in the structure of DNA. And if it fits into the same environment and could find a replication of the earth condition, most probably has our DNA. But can we see the history of the soul of the man? Back to the future, not for the physicality, but back to the future for actual dimension of the life of the man. In the coming months, as we set up research centers with cooperation with governments and what we set up, I'm sure our scientists will start looking at this. Because I can travel not only to whatever, I can travel directly into the dimension of the soul of the path of the creation. On Earth, we tracked, we came from East Africa, Central Africa. We tracked which galaxies, which universe, and which path we took to our Creator. Because some of these dots carry that field. We haven't opened this. If you open this, there's thousands and thousands of dots which makes this interaction. Why is it this? This is on the left side of the brain. So it carries the emotion side of the man, and you see it interacting with the planetary Earth has to create this end. It has to. It has no other choice. And then we see the interaction of the soul of the man with the field of the earth and the manifestation of physicality. If he is physical, should be this. And if we understand this, if we change the interaction of soul of the man with the interaction of the fields of the planetary system, which creates what we call the spirit, if we can control this, we can control this, there'll be no child born with no defects. Because we feed the spirit of the man, we feed the soul of the man. And then we can feed the knowledge of the universe, enlightenment, to create a new man. New creatures on this planet, does not kill, does not do anything. And secondly, now we can use the satellites to do it. Satellites do not need to look or set a mobile number. It looks for energy of the fields of the soul of the man, which has a amino acid of blah 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 to it. Think we are on the verge of time to understand our path from our Creator to us. Next 50 years, 100 years, when we stop killing each other and we have more energies in our hand to look at the freedom of intelligence and knowledge, we'll find the time, the place, the position, and the emotions of our Creator. It's just man now has the knowledge. Now man has the time to search. And my wish is that we don't go into the path of the past, that we annihilate ourselves. We don't get a chance to reach, to understand the truth about our cycle of life in the dimension of the creation, in the dimension of understanding of the totality of the life of the man. Now, the biggest interesting thing is it makes sense. This is the Creator and this is the man. I made man in the image of myself. The interaction in the soul of the man with the earth is the mirror. What you see within the soul of the man, you see within the soul of the Creator. And in that position, you can time it how it came that this field within the interaction of the field of the earth led to creation of the physical man the way we see. As we replicate the Creator in the dimension of the field and not the physicality, God doesn't have 2 arms and 2 legs and 10 fingers, but man has the essence of the creation, the essence of the soul, the essence of the energies. We make the plasma of the soul of the man in the dimension of existence. That's why we see these dots at the bottom here. These are soul of every single cell in our body. And this is interesting. If you go back to the beginning of the teachings, what did we say? If you still remember, when the field of the earth faces the field of the sun, you get the daylight. Now you understand how the soul of the man, when it interacts with the field, the soul of the planet Earth, you see the man, the soul of physicality. And now our knowledge is so complete, our knowledge is getting to the point of maturity that now, if our religious people don't jump up and down, man will understand the totality of the process of the creation. And it's interesting how man creates that knowledge, how man interacts with the field of the universe that leads to the creation of the dimension of the physicality. And then what is interesting is that how does man create himself? How man gets entangled in this loop of the feedbacks. What is interesting, Rick, I sent you a video and you can watch how your fields are created, and you can watch 1 minute of the interaction and connection of your souls. This is live from all of you collectively in the past few minutes. And it's interesting that you, all of us, can see this picture of the fields of collectively. You are on the line, collectively are producing this. Rick is on your common line. We always communicate with you. If you look at it, it's a minute, and this is you lot in the past few minutes. This is image of the collective soul of you, and you all come from the Creator. But like a thunder, starts from the earth, calling the Creator where the lightning is created above, which means we call for it, it doesn't call for us. Watch this. Have you received the break?
It's just coming in now. Just bear with me a sec
Play
here.
it and enjoy the creation. Enjoy the life, how we are all connected and how we all get connected in the dimension of the fields of the universe. And then we'll discuss in detail exactly how you lot move, what we need to understand about the history of the time of the man. Have you got it?
Okay, I've got it set up here now, and I'll play it.
Let's play the life of the man in the dimension of energy and watch whatever. This is live, you lot, in the past 5 minutes, about 1.5 minutes of the life of your soul. Can you play it? Watch. It's going up like lightning. The charge comes from Earth. I'm here, feed me. And then you see the line going down, comes up, and it keeps on doing, repeating the same. Whatever we call to the Father, feed me. And then collect, interact with the field of the earth, come back, make me, and then I come back to you. And it's all on two ends. Always comes from the earth to the creator. Here on the right hand side, you see little dots. This is our system feeding. And you see how the picture is made. And if I take a snapshot of this, thank you very much, Rick. If I take a snapshot of this, you see again, we can follow, we can go back on it and literally watch the creation of time, the creation of understanding the time, and how we as human race share in our position, share in our dimension, share in our understanding the whole process. If we look at the full dimension of the pictures, we have, we receive, we get, and we monitor the whole process in understanding it, in looking for what we showed, what we have. It's amazing, absolutely amazing in totality of the knowledge, in a way, in the grace of our Creator, allowing us to look within it, within the structure of it. This is your mother, soul of Mitra. If you create without the physicality, you saw the dots going up, calling to the Creator, I'm here. This is the line we are feeding. In that direction of the feed, feeds the physicality and back, and repeats itself. So this creates us. We interact, and we can go back to the beginning. We live through the structure. And now for the first time you see the position, and the question for all of us is, what energy at this point came from the dimension of creation that led to the time? What about we create an energy level which comes in at this level? What about with the knowledge we have now, create an energy which is high as this? would it enlighten the whole of the humanity? Now this is a picture of you lot. This is what we see collectively, all of you online create. And when you look at it, there's no difference in the whole process of the creation. This is life on what we call the central system. You see the line of the feed, you see everything. Where we go, how we call upon the Creator. I'm here. He feeds us. And then in rotation, we feed us back to where we are. The dot did not start from the top. The dot started like Earth, as we see, from the bottom, calling upon Creator. I have created the soul of Mitra. I've created the soul of child of Mitra. Feed it from your beauty, from yours. And in that process, what we see is very simple. It's absolutely simple. We see, because we created that extra time, feedback, and then the creation to the man. This is why we said the children of Mitra are perfection, because they're in the dimension of the soul, and then they touch the soul of the Creator, and its creation is always absolutely perfect. Because in that dimension, man never ever touches these fields whatsoever. The connection is, as I call on the soul of the Creator, I receive from it. I don't need to interact with the environment of it. In a way, as we always said, if you understood this, we are on the path to create the time travel of the soul. In a way, as I said, you went up. I'm here high, and the Creator responds. I give back to you. But in a way, if I do it through me and you, we have no interaction. We need no interaction with the soul of another dimension, be it Earth, be it the moon, be it field of the universe. I made man in the image of myself because you created me. And then man needs to understand the time travel in between. Something is very nice to understand, which we come to it in the future teaching, is time and the space of time is zero, because from the time this field touched us to create us, it's more or less microsecond, and you see the same here. So we have always connected at any time. It's for us to understand enlightenment and the knowledge which is created. I hope I open your eyes something beautiful today, because this has been a mystery from the time we created these physical systems. And the question for me has been from the beginning of building the systems is, why there is nothing? There's nothing. Why? What's the reason that there is nothing above? So if there is nothing above, it means it has to be the end. It has to be the ultimate point, and it goes back to what we always said. That's the sky. This is the end. This is the what we see as the soul of the Creator. And this is us. Earth interaction. These are interaction of our souls on the way back up with the plasma of the universe, like the way these lights are created. This is us. This is it. We can't go any further because there is nothing above it. There is nothing below. We don't see the sides. We see the interaction of the fields which feed us through the soul. This is why I keep on saying, if we feed the soul of the man, feeds the physicality of the man, so the man changes. Man does not need to kill. Would you like to take the screen, please? Now you understand. The dilemma of the man has just started. It has not finished. And now we need to understand the next step. We need to understand the next position in our knowledge, that with it we can travel the time, but the time of the universe, not the time of the man. And how far, how much we extend this knowledge, it depends on the scientists we have, how much governments come together to do the research of understanding the man, creating a life to feed the man, than creating bombs and killing each other. I hope I open your eyes into a dimension you never thought exists, but in so many ways, for the first time, you've seen your creator, scientifically, and not by imagination and books of the false information.